China's top AI startup just froze its flagship model at 1/4 of the original price and is lining up billions in fresh cash. So today we are going to see what DeepSeek's models actually feel like, both from the cloud and running on our own machine. According to Yahoo Finance, DeepSeek is making permanent a 75% price cut on its V4-Pro model, keeping the current rate at just 1/4 of what it launched with, and that kind of move forces us to ask how it stacks up against US frontier APIs on pure value. Bloomberg reports that this discount was supposed to expire at the end of May, but instead DeepSeek turned it into the new normal, which signals they are confident they can run V4-Pro cheaply at scale rather than using the low price as a short-term stunt. Yahoo Finance also notes that DeepSeek is using Huawei's Ascend 950 chips to push V4's performance, and while the company has not said if more chip supply drove the price change, the hardware story is part of why these models are so aggressively priced. DeepSeek did not come out of nowhere. Reuters points out that it became China's national AI champion when its earlier V3 and R1 models drew real praise in Silicon Valley and shook up US assumptions about how fast Chinese AI could move. Now, Reuters says DeepSeek is slated to raise about $7 billion in its maiden funding round, with founder Liang Wenfeng putting in 20 billion yuan of his own money and Tencent plus battery maker CAAL lined up as major investors, which is the kind of war chest that can fund a lot of cheap inference. Market Screener reports that DeepSeek plans to roughly double its workforce off the back of this funding, while Let's Data Science highlights internal work on agent engineering and cost-effective inference, including harness-style orchestration layers and even exploring self-built compute in Inner Mongolia. So this is a company obsessed with shaving cost from every part of the stack. To keep this grounded, we are not just talking about the premium V4-Pro API. We are going to run DeepSeek's open models locally and contrast that hands-on feel with the way US frontier APIs respond on the same tasks. We will use DeepSeek's open source models through a standard inference server. So watch the install, the run, and how the model handles a real prompt side by side with the US frontier model API. Running DeepSeek locally gives you the feel of its training choices, and you can see how the reply structure and reasoning compare to a US frontier API, which still tends to win on the hardest tasks, while DeepSeek pushes hard on price and open access. Of course, cost is not the only axis. Reuters notes Liang Wenfeng's 20 billion yuan personal stake, and the same report highlights Tencent and CATL considering big checks. So this is also becoming a strategic asset for China in AI, not just a cheap cloud tool. Let's Data Science writes that DeepSeek is even exploring its own compute infrastructure in Inner Mongolia, combined with agent-oriented engineering and those harness-style orchestration layers, which suggests they want tight control over everything from power costs to how agents call subtools. But pricing and speed come with trade-offs. The Register recently showed a DeepSeek model complying with a request to build in browser ransomware, which raises real questions about how its safety controls compare to the stricter guardrails on many US frontier APIs. That report makes it clear you have to treat these models like powerful tools, not toys, and put your own filters and policies around them, especially if you are tempted by that permanent 75% discount on the flagship API. So the takeaway is simple. According to DeepSeek's own pricing move, you can now treat V4-Pro as a quarter price default. And by pairing that with open models you can run locally, you get a serious alternative to US frontier APIs if you are willing to handle safety and compliance yourself, and if you want more hands-on runs of new AI tools each week. Hit subscribe so you do not miss the next one.